It turns out there is no studio catering, and my day is ruined.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of lied to you about that one.
We could not afford. It wasn't in the budget, which apparently we didn't have a budget. But not in like the budget's whatever you need it to be kind of way. In like there is no money.
Yeah,
at all.
No. Yeah, and I got like a half a banana if you want that.
That's it. That's all we got.
It's. I mean, I can tear off the part I bid if that's what you.
That's the best part. What do you mean?
All right. So
are we recording already?
I hit record, but we can do like a proper introduction.
It's the pilot, It's
Yeah. Listen. We need the investors. This is like our E3.
Yeah. Listen, we got to get oh god, Jeff Keighley on board here, and then
we'll get Jeff Keighley. We got to get
and Jeff Kaplan.
Jeff Kaplan, of course. Yep. What's that fucker's name? Todd Howard. There you go.
Yep. That's the dream team right there.
All three of them on stage at once, but none of them say a single word. They just stand there, and like something comes on in the background. Billions of dollars, trillions of dollars, even.
What's up? This is Jeff. I am just here for the studio catering, and there is none. So
this is what episode 1 of the Sock and Cold show.
Yes, maybe episode 0. That's provocative, That's cool.
Yeah, the introduction, if you will, the what do they call it in like written books where it's like there's a little bit at the beginning to titillate you.
I know what you mean. I can't remember the name.
Yeah,
of what that is called. Yeah.
It's like the opposite of a prologue.
Yes,
the prologue. And so I am Common Cold. I am a YouTuber, streamer extraordinaire. Very famous in many parts of the world. Yep. Specifically Zimbabwe for some reason.
Big audience there. They love you there, man.
I don't know what it is. And this is Sock Golem.
And I'm Sock Golem.
You are Sock Golem. What do you like, Sock Golem? What do you do?
I post 3 videos a year. On the Sock Golem YouTube channel, and I play video games. Usually not on the Sock Golem YouTube channel, honestly. Just in this chair,
in this chair that you're sitting in.
Yes, that is all I got. Yeah. Technically, if you think about it, I am technically a YouTuber. Just not for the past 7 months. I think. Let me actually check the math on that. 8 months. Yeah, 8 months. So 3 videos a year. Mostly I just play video games. We hang out sometimes, and I'm good at doing bits. That's my claim to fame, I feel like.
Perfect. So
doing bits.
Yeah. So we've both we have a method to our madness here. We've both prepared
sort of.
Okay. Method, whatever, quote unquote. We've both prepared a set of things to share. It's a show and tell with each other. I've kind of seen this done in other places. This is a pretty common format, a common cold format, if you would. And it's people will bring things to their podcast to show, to tell a little bit about, and kind of bounce the conversation around based on that.
Yeah.
Would you like to start, or should I?
You know what? You can go first.
All right. Well, I recently just was recommended and watched a documentary that was very interesting to me. So while we are both video game people, I will say, it will not always be video game centric. And this is, I'm already deviating. I'm already breaking formula here a little bit.
It is the literal first topic, and we're already being like, video games? What the hell's that? Who needs them?
But this was a fantastic, particularly interesting to me, as someone who is currently experiencing a lot of this. It is a documentary from PBS, filmed by Independent Lens, called Exposing the Myth of Southern Charm. And it is, like, genuinely, it is a fantastic documentary. And Sock, you know that I, a couple of years ago, moved to Georgia, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I've been kind of in the middle of all of this Southern charm, you know, people being very, very, very happy with each other, so long as you're white. And and that is exactly what the documentary is about. It is perfectly set up because there is no narrator, there is no like overarching narrative. It is literally just, we're going to show you a couple groups of people, we're going to let them speak for themselves. And it starts off with, I can't remember what the name of the city is. It's all based in this one city. And it starts off with this
not
historic...
Atlanta, I can tell you that much.
It starts off with this historic like group that's I think it's called the Garden Club. And their whole thing is they prepare their big houses, their big plantation houses for people to come in, for tourists to come in, because this is kind of how they saved their city back in the day. Like, there was a big drought or something, you know, big crops, all their crops failed, whatever. And so they brought tourists in. And that's kind of where it starts. And the more you hear from these people, the more you kind of get the sense that, okay, these people are skirting around certain subjects very concertedly, you know? They're using very specific words. I don't think, like, even once you hear any of the people in that, like, group say the word slave. But they do talk about the servants and the help, you know? It's like, it goes from there. It's very interesting. I would highly recommend everybody watch it, really. It doesn't just follow that one group, you know? It also, it goes to a few other people. There is the first black member of that society, and she's trying to kind of like bring things into the modern era, really tell things as they are, sort of thing, and kind of her struggle with that.
Okay.
So I know that's a little bit of a heavy topic, but that, like, literally, this is how much that documentary impacted me. I was like, damn, this is powerful stuff. This is great.
So, can I just say, you know, when I sat down here, I was like, I don't know what he's going to talk about. You know, I'm like, I want to talk about live service games and things like that, and, you know, the trends in the industry and everything. I could have sat here for like a couple hours by myself, wondering what we were going to talk about. The deep racial tensions of the American South were not going to be anywhere near the beginning of what I was thinking we were going to talk about. That is really interesting, though, because I'm a native Oklahoman, you know, I mean, like, so just the general idea of, you know, the idea about Oklahomans and people, you know, kind of that similar, I guess, cultural demographic, you would say, is, yeah, they're very neighborly, very kind, very whatever. But to me, it has always been like, I know if I blow out a tire on the side of the road, someone is going to stop. Someone is going to help me. That has happened to me before. I've blown out a
Right.
tire and some random dude pulling a trailer stopped and helped me fix it and everything. But yeah, I mean, it is 100% true that like it is this very neighborly sort of atmosphere in Oklahoma and in a lot of these other places. But it is only if you're in the sort of in crowd. 100%. Now, there are plenty of people that I know in this area that are super nice, that are, not, racist or not like harboring anything like that. But there are plenty of people that I do know, even people that I have like working relationships with. And I'm like, if I was like a gay guy or if I was of a different race or creed or anything, I do feel like this person would have a drastically different opinion of me. So I do absolutely get what you're saying for sure, because that is something that is really prevalent. And just kind of more so points to, like, I think the sort of tribalism that we have in a lot of areas of the United States, but I think it is really poignant in the American South specifically. So, yeah, I mean, definitely not the topic that I was thinking we were going to talk about today, but it's definitely real. I would definitely give you that at the very least. It's a very real phenomenon.
Yeah, and I don't know if you ever have experienced this, but like people, like especially other white people, they will make offhanded remarks specifically to your face because you are white, right? They will make like racy jokes. They will make because they think like you're okay, you know. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, for sure. But I mean, and I think there is an interesting sort of difference between the two ways you can do this, because not to point anything out, but I'm sure you and I, over the years, playing games or whatever, have made jokes that are racially centric. However, I feel like there is always the idea that if you are actually making a joke that has or a comment or something that has some sort of racial implication, the punchline of the joke should be that racial implication is dumb in a way,
right?
Whereas if you're doing it the way that I think you're referring to, it's just like, hey man, black people, am I right? Hate them, can't stand them. Whereas if we were making a joke like that, the joke, like even if we said something very similar to that, the joke is that is a stupid notion, right? Which I think kind of goes back to this idea, which is almost a completely different topic, I guess, of like what is and isn't okay to joke about. And I have always been someone that has been of the opinion that most anything can be a topic for humor, whether it is a tragedy or an issue or some sort of discriminatory thing, but only if it's done in a way that is, for starters, usually with an audience that understands the kind of joke you're really making versus just trying to be racist. And also just the implication that the funny part of the joke is that the stereotype or the derogatory thing is kind of dumb. But 100%, yeah, there are definitely people that I know that make those kinds of jokes that are just actually racist. For sure, yes.
Yeah. And like, it happens all over the place. That's happened to me in California when I lived in California, but
sure, yeah.
I think it got a lot worse when I moved to Georgia. People were a lot more open with it. When I was working, I had this is a little bit of a non sequitur, but I had a coworker who they like consistently wore a jacket that said, oh, what was it? It was I think Charlie Kirk is an American hero. And it was like, oh man.
I'm glad we're getting such a wide, we're appealing to such a wide audience with our first episode.
Right. Casting a big net.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of a lot of the discourse online, because it's very often, and in real life, it's very often people who are just completely unwilling to actually look into things, think about things from a different perspective, unable to even sympathize with their fellow human beings because they have been told in a general establishment sort of manner that they're not worth sympathizing with, that they are lazy, that they are, whatever. And it's like, I am just so disenchanted, I guess, with dealing with that.
Gotcha. Just with the constant divide, whether it is along racial lines or whether it's along your place of birth or your sexuality or your A, B, C, or D, right? So
Right.
I get that for sure. Yeah, we are in an incredibly and not even just in the States. I mean, very much so in the States, but not in many places across the world. We are in a very, very fragmented part, I think, of just humanity's culture in general, where there is this massive divide, especially here on the home front, you could call it. Whether it's just straight political party, whether it's, a billion different things, right? You can find so many ways to say this group is bad for this reason, this group is bad for a different reason, whatever. And it has been really bad. And I think, the American South is always a great an example of that, just because, like you said, I mean, it is this, going back to the very beginning here, it is this idea that, everyone is so neighborly, so kind, whatever, but it is only present if you are in the in-group. If you are from here, if you are a white Christian guy, sometimes you have to be the right kind of Christian too.
Yeah.
It's all very divided and not good. And obviously there's a lot of reasons for that, which probably would take a lot more than this to talk about, I think, just to get into the whole issue broadly. Yeah.
Right. And, I think even though I say I'm tired of it, there is a part in this documentary where it's, I feel very humbled by a particular person in the documentary. It's a black man named Reverend Tracy, and he does his own historical thing where he brings people around the town and he shows people what's going on. But he sometimes gets people who just don't get it, who are still kind of in their own bubble, kind of don't really sympathize with black people or have these fucking weird assumptions. And he's very well spoken, he's very good at engaging with that. And I think that's one of the big issues I've seen when it comes to people who are trying to do better, trying to be the better people, is that they're not willing to engage with that. They're not willing to talk to people about on equal terms about things like racism.
And a lot of that is, some people just have very fundamental misunderstandings about things, and that's why, and I don't want to call them dumb, but I'm just saying they have genuine misconceptions about the way that a lot of things ended up shaking out, to where if you try to tell them what actually is the reality of the situation, it just doesn't compute a bit. But also I feel like there is a sense of almost fear, from being wrong. Nobody likes being wrong.
Right. Right.
But also if you have lived your life in a certain way for 20, 30, 50 years, and you've had certain opinions about groups of people, and you've had certain, maybe even experiences that have influenced your opinions with those groups of people, to be proven wrong is almost something that, and I think that is a lot of problems people have with maybe some, specific kinds of support for specific kinds of figures in specific fields. That they're so deep into their support of an idea or a person or a political thing that it is just not something that they could ever rebuke and still exist in the way that they currently exist, Right.
Something will just it challenges you, it challenges you to learn something that changes your fundamental view of the world so greatly. And people, that's tough, admittedly. I don't know about you, but when I was a teenager, I was kind of a shitty person,
Yeah, you're supposed to be.
That's what I've heard. And it was very similar to some of the people you see where it's like I kind of am like, oh, that's in the past. Why is it? Why do I care? I didn't do it. Blah blah blah. And it was God. It was. Do you remember Sergeant YOLO?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
It was a conversation I had with Sergeant YOLO and some other person. I believe they went by Nebby. And it was not even about race. It was about gender identity, because I was very like, they were trying to explain things like xenogenders to me. And I was like, totally, my mind was so inundated with the idea that like gender and sex are the same thing, like I could not divorce that from myself enough to see what they were trying to tell me. And so we had this huge conversation. I think it lasted like an hour, literally over Discord, where it was like they were just trying to like punch it into my head, and I was just like, but that doesn't make any sense. How could gender if not penis or vagina? It's like, and I don't know. It's tough, right? And I think there needs to be, like, just in the world, I think there needs to be more people who are able to communicate stuff like that, who are able to like put in the effort for stuff like that to get through to people.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, communication is the big thing. I mean, for sure. I mean, when it comes to healing the political divide, healing the divide between different groups and people and things like that, communicating that there is no like, my group existing does not hurt your group existing. That that cooperation, that coexisting, that just common understanding is the solution. That is something that is hard to hammer into a lot of people, for sure.
Yeah.
If that's the point you were trying to get at, I don't know. I think it was.
Yeah. It kind of. There's also just like it is difficult. I don't. It's weird because I'm kind of like trying to advocate for sympathy for the devil, where it's like nobody wants to like. There's this idea that like racists, you just kill them, face the wall, whatever. But it's weird, but they're people too.
Yeah, absolutely, right? Yeah, like your racist uncle that like absolutely is genuinely vocally against like some very basic rights and things like that is also a volunteer at his local church and helps, the needy in his community and does like, oddly enough, like there are racist people that do a lot of good in their communities. Those communities are white, but
right.
They are human beings. And even the ones that are shitty people, even if it's like, cousin Daryl who lives in a trailer home and just, drinks
Shoots
himself half
possum.
to death and shoots possums. Yeah, like he is a human being that deserves to live and deserves to have a quality of life and A, B, C, and D, right? But yeah, we do as a society have to be intolerant of intolerance. And we have to find a way to kind of accomplish both of like not tolerating racism and bigotry, but also not failing to provide an off-ramp for the people that are racist, that are bigoted, because they are human beings, right? And, obviously there's a difference between being against somebody who says, hey, I just want to exist and express my gender identity, express my race, and express my creed. And that's cool versus being like, hey, I'm somebody who wants to exist and say that these people shouldn't exist. Obviously, those are wildly different categories of people, 100%. Right. But you can't just be like this group that is racist and bigoted. Got to get rid of them, because they are people, right? And we as a civilization, as like a species, we work best when there is generally compassion and understanding and, a general desire to kind of really to loop this back to the original point, to sort of embody that idea of almost Southern hospitality, right? That idea of being neighborly, that idea of being helpful and understanding of each other and wanting to help out. But it's hard to do that when we've got, people that some people fundamentally believe that other people shouldn't have the same rights as them, or vice versa, So it's a very prickly situation.
Right. And I'm glad that we could talk about this. Listen, I promise my next show and tell is not. It's not even a 10th of whatever this was.
All right, man. Here's what we're going to talk about next. So, back in Weimar Germany, Jesus, I want to talk about video games.
All right. We've been on this for a while.
The Sock and Woke Show will return after a word from our sponsors.
Sock and Woke Show. Goodness gracious. I don't think we're ever going to get a sponsorship after that.
I guarantee we're not getting the guys that sponsor Rogan.
Definitely
not. How are we going to hawk supplements on this thing, man? Come on.
What, you don't want the what is it, Shilajit?
I have no idea. I feel like you called me something there. I think that was an insult. I don't know what that word was.
Have you seen like the supplement stuff? I hold on. Before we move on to your first topic,
which is not that heavy, just so we're clear.
There are a lot of supplements out there, and one of them is called chalk. And
that you draw with that common. You play hopscotch with it.
I know, right? Like it's I can't even remember how it's spelled. I think it's COQ. Chalk supplements.
Well, doesn't that spell cock? There's no H in there.
How do you spell it? Is it? I can't remember. I'm trying to find it. I can't listen. Whatever.
CHOQ produces premium and something. Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Is it CHOQ?
I found a page that says CHOQ. It's got a family holding an American flag on their home page. Feel your strength and energy surge. Do you think these guys will sponsor us? I love the product, but sometimes due to some health issues, I have to stop for periods of time. Well, that's not good.
So these supplements, they're entirely ingrained in pseudoscientific bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing too, because it's it pushes a lot of stuff like oh, men need more tea, women.
Hold on, I gotta get my credit card real quick. Powerful testosterone and energy support. Man, let me get some of this. An expertly blended combination of 3 of our most powerful male supplements. Wait, I don't think you should be blending them. That doesn't sound good. You shouldn't be blending multiple supplements, right? Am I crazy? I mean, I don't take supplements, so maybe I take a vitamin D pill. I mean, I don't know what you want.
Me too, actually.
Because we're gamers, we don't go outside enough.
Yeah, no. Listen, vitamin D and milk, kids. That's how you supplement your D. That's how you get more D.
More dick? Or
vitamin D.
Oh, vitamin D. I thought you were talking about gay hookups.
So that's the end of the sock.
Can I just say something real quick? That actually, that little exchange right there just made me think of that would have happened on the Norm Macdonald show. I don't know. That just felt very which I think is a compliment. I don't know.
I'm a fan of Norm.
Yeah,
but yeah, these supplements are all over the place. They're bullshit. Don't fuck with them. And I watched this YouTuber. His name is Milo Rossi, Mini Minute Man. I don't know if you heard of him. And then he kind of goes into this. His whole thing is just debunking conspiracy theories and stuff like that. And he's had to talk about supplements multiple times because it always comes up. There's always a supplement. There's always something that they're selling, and it's really funny to me. Anyway, so that being said, let's move into socks.
Gaming. We love gaming.
Yeah, we like gaming. Yeah. We video game.
So I had one main topic for sure that I wanted to talk about, and it kind of got there's more to this point now very recently because it's a live service centered point, and we actually did just hear that Destiny 2 is doing its last official content drop very recently. So that's not what we're talking about, but it does kind of point towards what I am sort of wanting to talk about because I want to focus for this point that I'm going to make mostly on High Guard, which was obviously greatest game of all time.
God, forgot about High Guard. Oh my goodness.
But the main point I want to get at here is just how devastating of a thing it is to make a live service game and not have it be an immediate success, and why I think it is so terrible for the industry, the position that we're in. Because I guess I'll bury the lead here. The point I'm going to get at is that if you, as a studio, are making a live service game, your options are either immediately become Apex or Fortnite or something like that, or your studio will close. That is it. It feels like in the modern world, as far as like live service games go, right? Because like High Guard, obviously it's the final reveal of the Game Awards. Jeff Keighley's really shilling it. Everybody's like, this doesn't look that good, but whatever. And then everybody goes to play it. It peaks at 97,000 plus players on PC shortly after launch. Everybody's getting on it. And then, it does kind of trickles down, right? And by the end of it, there's a couple thousand people playing whatever. And it becomes very evident very quickly this game is not going to be the next household, the next household name, right?
Right.
And within I think it was maybe I want to say around 45 days or something, the actual lifespan of the game. And to me, that is so insane for a number of reasons. Obviously, for starters, they lost this was $200 million just gone, right? Which is insane. But also the game, we have had so many games come out, I feel like in the past several years, that were really bad. There were games that just died very quickly, and it was very obvious why they died. Like, the game wasn't fun. It was either a buggy, unplayable mess. It was A, B, C, and D. There's a million reasons why these games are bad. But my problem with High Guard is that, I didn't play it because I have kind of grown past the point where I really play, hero shooters or things like that. If a bunch of my friends were like, hey, we're going to play this, I would get on and do it because it's fun to play games with your friends, but, whatever. But every time I would watch somebody review the game or watch people play the game, and I put a good amount of watch hours into this. It wasn't that it was terrible. It was they were having some fun. It was okay. It was it was mid. Is I think the consensus. It wasn't some unplayable mess. It took a bunch of mechanics from different games that had already been done and just kind of threw them together. Had kind of a unique spin with this weird sieging, base attacking sort of phase of the game. And it was okay. And I feel like if a game is okay, we can't be living in a situation where 45 days it's gone, right? A game that is single player and just comes out can be mid, and it could still be okay. And it could even still be a financial success if a game is mid. Obviously, a financial success for a single player game is not near what a financial success for a live service game is. They're going to out earn them by hundreds of millions of dollars. But I feel like the live service environment, whether you're making an MMO or a hero shooter or a gacha game or whatever, it feels like the environment for live service is literally, like I said at the beginning, either you are Fortnite or you're gone. You're dead.
Sink or swim.
And I feel like it is not worth it at all. And it was only a couple years ago, and I'm kind of dragging in my second main topic, which I guess we'll get to more later. But it feels like it was not very long ago that you had big companies I know Square Enix made an announcement several years ago that they were making a major shift towards live service stuff, that they were going to be putting a lot of efforts towards the production of live service games. And I kind of wonder if we are nearing maybe the end of that sort of experiment where oh, this is really hard. And also most of the primary genres that a live service market would be in, you've got your hero shooters, your battle royales, you've got your, degenerate gambling anime games, shit like that.
MMOs.
Most of those are, MMO, it's all very saturated. So it feels like we're at a point where we don't need any more of these, for a while, right? I don't know if that's the vibe you get too, or what your thoughts are on the whole spiel.
So Now, this is really interesting because I saw an update for a game I have not played in like 6-7 years. Do you remember the game Outriders?
The name is familiar, but I don't know that I ever played it.
So
the name
I don't
definitely. I remember
think
existing.
you did. I played it with Myth for a little bit. I streamed it. It was I think it's a live service. It is a kind of Destiny-like third person, looter shooter-esque game. And yeah, last played April 11th, 2021. So about 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it was like, you described Highguard as mid. I would very much also describe Outriders as mid. It was like perfectly fine for what it was. It was not anything groundbreaking, but it wasn't bad, you know? Had some interesting stuff. Anyway, it's still going, I think. I mean, like, it's been like 6 years, and it just got a DLC. It got, some more stuff, and I'm really curious as to like what happened. Was it COVID? Like, why is it that this particular game had like more, has a much longer lifespan than Concord, than Highguard, than all of these other games that had so much hype, that had so much money put into it, and yet like this is just kind of it's
hanging on.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that Highguard really was kind of screwed over was by their funding from Tencent being pulled. Tencent was like backing them up from what I've known, and like when numbers started to dip, they pulled it.
They pulled the plug, right?
Yeah. So
Outriders. I think that's. So sorry, just to circle back on something. Outriders is published by Square.
Oh, huh.
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I just looked at this. Yeah. Sorry.
Square definitely was not they were definitely not the only company that did that around that time. I think it was right around like that sort of COVID, maybe early post-COVID era, where like several big gaming companies were like, yes, we are going to primarily start pumping out live service games. And it's because, like everybody was playing live service games. Like, it was because Fortnite had gotten big. I mean, like Genshin Impact was super big at the time, especially in like those early COVID and very post-COVID years. It's a live service game, I mean, and obviously the idea is when you make that one, your company is now funded for 8 billion years. Like, you are never going to run out of money if you have the next Fortnite, if you have, the next big thing. So I get why, but it's like, it has become such a thing where it is like buying a lottery ticket, it feels like, if you are putting out a live service game. Because even Marvel Rivals, I feel like when Marvel Rivals came out, I feel like the general, like if you told people like, hey, we're going to make Overwatch, but it's going to be Marvel, everybody's like, this is going to suck. It's going to be a corporate cash grab IP thing, and nobody's going to want to play it. Because like Overwatch wasn't even like popular at that point. It was in like kind of its low, it was kind of, its popularity was waning and everything. People were like bitching about Overwatch 2 and everything. But like, look at it. I mean, it is now, it's bigger than Overwatch 2, I'm pretty sure, right? I mean, I don't play either, but I'm pretty sure it's bigger than Overwatch 2.
Yeah, I've seen people who don't like really play video games play Marvel Rivals. So it's pretty big right now.
And I think another thing that people that are making these games do not understand is that to make someone really adopt a live service game, because that's really what you have to do. Like with a single player game, I can buy a $60 single player game, play it for 15 hours, not touch it for 3 months, play it for another, whatever. But you are like almost obligated if you're really like, you're going to play, like if Marvel Rivals is your game, you're playing it like all the time. If Overwatch 2 is your game, you're playing it like all the time. If you are somebody that is playing an MMO or a gacha game or anything like this, where it's like you got to do your dailies, you got to spend your stamina, this and that, it is a commitment to play multiple live service games. And I feel like a lot of these companies that are just throwing things out into the market and seeing them like wilt or prosper don't understand that like the people that play 5 live service games are the most miserable people on the planet. Like,
Right.
you cannot just be like, I don't know. So I feel like live service in general is not in a good spot. I mean, obviously, the most successful games in the world are always going to be live service games monetarily. But I feel like the space itself, I think, is the overall point, is in a really bad spot.
Yeah, and I think part of that is just that, like, people have found their live service games that they like. You know, people have found their niche in specific spots, and they don't want to move into something else. They don't, you know, if you're an MMO player, you've got World of Warcraft, you've got what was the Amazon one?
Final Fantasy 14. That one's pretty big. That's not the Amazon one, but that one's still pretty big.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 14. You've got a lot of like big, like good games to show. You know, if you're a shooter player, you've got Overwatch, you've got Marvel Rivals, you've got, you know, all these different games. If, you know, you want a live service game from anything, you've got choices already. It is already not only a saturated market, but it is a market with very dedicated fans. And if you want to make a live service game that is worth playing, you're going to have to do something different that like pulls people away from their already existing, what do you call it? You know, whatever they want to stick around for in their games.
For sure. And like Highguard would have needed to really peel a lot of people away from games, like whether it was Valorant or I feel like Valorant's probably the well, no, it did. I don't know. I don't know if it was more of like because it was such a weird conglomeration of mechanics. So like, I don't know if it would have been more like the Marvel Rivals audience or more like the Valorant audience, because it had aspects of a lot of those. It even had like resource collecting stuff that people compared to like Fortnite and things like that. So I mean, it would have had to. Because it had like a buy phase like CS and like Valorant and stuff like that, but you respawned. It had like, because it had multiple phases where you had to like get a thing that let you siege the enemy's base. It was so weird, but it had some unique stuff, but it was for the most part like it took a bunch of mechanics from different games, and it was its own thing sort of, but like was very clearly taking inspiration from like a lot of other successful titles in the live service space. But it would have had to peel a consistent audience from those games, because you're not going to be somebody that plays Marvel Rivals all the time and plays Highguard all the time. You know, you might be, you know, and if you are, you're maybe like someone that like streams games and things like that. But if you're like the guy that gets off work and then plays his shooter with his friends, for me, for a long time when I was in college, that was Rainbow Six Siege. Me and my friends played a ton of Rainbow Six Siege back in the day. But like when Call of Duty, when a new like Cold War came out or whatever, we played that for a while. But then we went back to Rainbow Six Siege, or whenever like something else would come up, we would play Fortnite for a while, we'd play Apex for a while, we'd get tired of that, we'd go back to Siege. You know, like people have these games that they play and that are very like the game they play with their friends, and you kind of have to beat that out if you really want to muscle your way into the space, I think, with enough people, because that 97,000 people or whatever that they peaked with on Steam was mostly there to either dunk on the game because they already had this preconceived notion it was bad because they didn't like that it was the last reveal at the Game Awards, or people had tried it out for a week, thought it was mid, and then just moved back to Marvel Rivals or whatever they already did, you know? So, and if this was a single player game, that would be okay, you know? Because you would buy the game for $30, $60, whatever, you'd play it for a week, and then you'd be done with it. And they'd have gotten their money, and you'd have gotten your playtime, and you'd be done, you know? Like, I bought and played Expedition 33 last year. I loved it. I thought it was phenomenal. It's probably in my top 10 games I've ever played. I think it's fantastic. Oh, wow. But I mean, I played it. I mean, I'll pull it up real quick. Probably like less than 50 hours, maybe. I don't know. Maybe a little bit more than that. Let me actually see here. You know, pulling up my Steam here. I had to think about alphabet. Oh yeah, because it starts with a C because it's Claire Obscure Expedition 33. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I played it 52 hours, which, I mean, that's usually like a single player game. You play out these 20 to 30 to 40, 50 hour stories, you do whatever, you're done, you know? And they've gotten their money's worth, and you've gotten your playtime's worth, and that's it. And this game made a lot of money, But I mean, if Highguard had stuck around for a couple years, it would have made way more money than Expedition 33, a game that like has been universally praised, won 1 billion awards, whatever, you know? Like it is, I don't know. It just feels like it's so much. I like the single player market so much better. You know, I just feel like it's such a much more healthier relationship with the medium, I think.
Yeah,
and
it's
just
so much
doesn't
less
have to-
volatile. It like it is the live service market is so volatile. Things either blow up or it's just dead on arrival.
Yeah, no, that's really what it is, you know. So I don't know. I mean, that's mostly what my topic was, that first one. And like I said, the second topic's kind of related to it, but we can get to that in a bit. But I mean, yeah, I just kind of more so was just wanted to focus on like how volatile this is and how it feels like some games just do not get much of a chance, you know, because I mean, with Highguard, like going back to it, like if you have this backer in Tencent or you have some other company or publisher backing you, and it's been like 3 weeks and they're like, all right, I kind of wanted to see more. You're done. And then like, you know, by week 4, you're having to do mass layoffs. And by week 5, you're having to sunset the game. Like, you know, think about No Man's Sky, right? I mean,
Right,
the
yeah.
sort of like, and it's not really a live service game, but it's like, you know, it's a game that came out, had 1 billion promises, didn't meet any of them. And if it came out today, it would still be in that state that it came out in, you know, where it like just fizzled. It wouldn't, I feel like you wouldn't have been able to give it the patience you needed to, you know, update it and fix it and turn it into what's become a very beloved title for a lot of people that people now always point to as an example of post-launch support being so good and important and everything. And I just feel like we're in a bad space for the medium when post-launch support is not really something that is viable, it feels like, for a lot of titles, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's God, I was reminded of something and suddenly my brain just like shut off. It's really it's frustrating. Oh, I remember. So I'm sure you've heard of it, the Stop Killing Games initiative.
Yes.
So I think that whole thing is going to be a very positive shift in the industry. I don't know how familiar you are with it, but the idea is like after a game is made, there needs to be inbuilt support such that users can run their own server you know,
yeah.
And that's pretty much the extent of it. There's like people think that it's forcing the company to keep their servers running for however long. No, it's really not that. It's just, hey, if you make a game that's live service, you know, support it for this minimum amount of time. If it's not good, release some server executables, some server code, whatever. And
yeah, it effectively. No, you go ahead and finish your point.
Yeah, let people like extend the service that they want to play, right? Because I mean, even for games like Concord, I don't even know what the fuck Concord was, but you know,
it was a hero shooter.
It was a hero shooter. Okay, you and I
also
both
it was
know.
like a full price game, and I think that was another big problem with it. Wasn't freemium.
Oh yeah, that would do it. Like,
and also no one liked it, but yeah, it was also freemium. I mean, not freemium, which is like a big problem for like modern live services, you know.
Yeah, if there's a buy-in, it's tough to make it work unless you're apparently Overwatch before Overwatch 2.
True.
So, you and I both know like people are going to want to play games, right? If people buy a game, they're going to want to play it. Mm-hmm. And like even if you how do I put this? Even if you don't like necessarily get into the game before the live service is cut off, you might see a game where the live service was cut off and you might say, damn, I really wish I could have played that game. just to see what it was, just to see all the assets, to see like what, like the blood, sweat, and tears that was poured into it. And like that's the issue, is that, or at least part of the issue, is that a lot of that, because there are real people behind these games, that really try their damnedest to make assets, to make stories, to make characters, to make music, and it's all gone effectively.
Yes.
And it's so, even from like there's the whole financial standpoint, but from an artistic standpoint, that has to be so awful, so demoralizing.
Yeah.
And I don't see anything like that being positive for anybody. But if you release community tools, if you release, hey, server executable, go make your own server, whatever, that alone would greatly improve, I think, most live service games' potential. I think people would be more willing to work on live service games. I think people would be more willing to, I don't know, like engage with the idea of a live service game, even like not being beholden to this company, not being beholden to, oh, when are they going to shut the game off? But instead being able to say, hey, we can play this game however long we want. We can, I don't have to worry about not being able to play it at some point in the future. I know that they're going to release the server files and someone's going to host a server. And if my friends and I want to hop on Concord or whatever the fuck, we can,
Yeah, I mean, it is absolutely, like you said, it would be absolutely gutting to work on, just like being an environmental artist or making character models or writing dialogue or anything like that. And then to have your game come out and you've spent years of your life on this and you're getting people to actually engage with it and see it and then be like, all right, it's been a month and a half. We're done. This is lost media now. Goodbye. You're dead. Like, yeah, it's brutal. 100%. I have to imagine, because like, and a lot of people, like when they see games come out, like there are people that were absolutely cheering when High Guard got, and I think it's because they view it as like fucking over a company, which like I'm all for fucking over a company, whatever. Yeah. But like there are so many people that like genuinely like that are passionate about the industry, that are talented and want to make art, that are just getting canned over this, that are losing their jobs over this, that are now this project is just dead in the water. Yeah. So I mean, I am a full advocate of the stop killing, the idea of stop killing games, because I mean, we already have so many issues with the preservation of media and the preservations of games. Sometimes that's the reason that emulation and things like that is so important for preservation, is because these games are not just like time capsules and cultural touchstones to like times that have gone by and things like that, but they are pieces of art that like so many people worked on and spent years on. And it is good when those things can be preserved and can be, sort of experienced and called back to later by like new generations. Like I was playing like a Nintendo DS game like yesterday, like I play like I love playing like old games and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
But it is always a little unnerving almost, I guess, when like these $1 million properties and $1 million IPs and things like that just get Thanos, it's rough.
Yeah, and I think that's another thing too, is it's like there has to be something else to it when there's all these millions of dollars pumped into something only for the plug to be pulled pretty much immediately, like it just doesn't make sense. And it's like someone dying. Like you just hear about someone dying actually, and it's like, oh, but they just fell over for no reason. Nobody knows why, like, yeah. What do you mean? It feels unstable. It's worrying. Yeah. God, I am not happy with live service games. I personally, I've been kind of moving over into like, I played a lot of Overwatch back in the day, but
oh yeah, we bought the game multiple times. We both had Smurfs with the same name. We both had Smurfs named Waluigi.
We did, and like, as much as I enjoyed that, I've been moving more into single player games personally, just because I really
like locking yourself in a room and watching your action skills take 80 years to kill one enemy. We know.
Of course. I love that. It's and like, I don't know, it's something about single player games where it's like you don't have to connect with anyone specifically. You don't need to play it multiplayer. You can just enjoy a piece of art on your own. It's like imagine if there was a movie, for instance, and you could only see it in movie theaters. Like,
you
it wasn't
only
released
watch, you can only watch the Minecraft movie if you bring all your friends. Not allowed. Otherwise.
Yeah, you got to 6-stack the Minecraft movie, otherwise you lose.
Yeah, they will not let you. You can't get in the theater.
But like, no, imagine like a movie that you can only see in a theater, like ever, and it's only going to be exist for however many months, and then they never show it again. Actually lost media. That's kind of how I feel about live service games. And to bring it back to Destiny, like, I was so upset when they got rid of Red War.
Yes, when they started just digging content out and just taking it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I remember I logged into Destiny, I can't even remember how long ago it was, and I was like, man, I can't wait to play all of those things that I didn't quite finish up in those DLCs that I paid fucking money for, and they just didn't exist anymore. You couldn't access them. And I was like, what the fuck?
To me. Yeah.
Like,
because like games having seasonal content is not anything new, but the base game is not seasonal content, man. A paid expansion cannot be reduced to seasonal content, dude. Like, there is a massive difference between being like, all right, this is the story mode, these are the DLCs, because there was like in like the core DLCs for Destiny 2, if I remember, there was the one on like Mars with the big robot guy. There was the one with like Osiris, I think. And
Trials
then there
was Curse of Osiris or whatever.
Yeah, there was the one where like Cade gets blasted and stuff. That was like the other really big one that like brought a lot of people back to the game, I think. And I started playing the game like when all those were like in, because it became like free on Xbox or something, and that's when I started playing it. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I loved like just the regular gameplay loop. Like, there'd be times where like if we were in a call like this and I was talking to my friends about whatever, I would just be dicking around on one of the worlds, like just running around, killing people. It was always fun. It was just cool to do. But like, I never did I got super into like Endgame or anything like that. I played a good amount of Gambit because I thought it was pretty fun. But yeah, to just be, and that is, I think, really scummy. And just to be like the base game of the game is now gone because I don't know. And I was long gone from the game by that point, so I don't know all the details. So maybe we're misrepresenting some part of it, but I really don't think we are. It seemed like they just straight up were like, all right,
it was just removed. And like, admittedly, it was before. So did you hear about why Red War specifically was removed?
No.
So there was copyright issue. Basically,
was that real?
Yeah, I think it had to do with like.
I heard there was a lawsuit where some guy had said that they ripped him. I thought there was like a quack thing. I didn't know that was like a real thing. Is that really what happened?
I think that's really what happened, and I think it was legitimate. Like, they actually just straight up plagiarized his, like, it was like a book or something for the Red War story. And so I could see removing that, maybe. But everything after that, I feel like, again, like, I paid money for Trials of Osiris. I paid money for, like, the first couple of DLCs, and it feels really shitty to log into a game, like, expecting that, and going, oh, I can't play that anymore. I can never play those anymore. I didn't get my money's worth, you know?
Right. Yeah. I mean, imagine if you logged on to, the more like common live service crap where you're mostly buying like cosmetics and shit like that. And just like half your Fortnite skins just don't exist anymore. The ones you bought with your hard-earned V-Bucks, your parents' hard-earned V-Bucks, and like they're just gone. You bought content that, as far as you were aware, was permanently available content, was not like a season pass type thing, and they're just like, you know what, we don't really, who plays that anymore? Like we don't really need that. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it's wild.
Okay. Live services are great. Yeah. What was your? So I'm kind of afraid to ask what your next topic is.
So my next topic is very short, and it's very I have a visual aid.
A visual aid? We don't have a budget. What do you mean?
So I'll show these on screen, but you are familiar with thrift shops, right?
Yes.
I live in an area.
I've thrifted before.
Yes, I live in an area with a handful of thrift shops, and I've seen other people do this thing where they will take submissions. They'll take submissions of different like weird things that people found in thrift shops, different like knickknacks, shirts, whatever. Recently, I went to a thrift shop looking for, some clothes, whatever. And I kept on finding shirts that they weren't like weird. They weren't like crazy weird, but it's just bizarre enough to make you think. So let's start just real quick with this one here.
I swear to God, if this goes back to race again, it's
so.
This is just a good shirt. What do you mean? That's a great shirt. This shirt's awesome.
So we've got the Hagrid, you're a wizard, Harry.
His body looks really small in this picture. Am I crazy? Does he have a big head in this picture and a small body?
I don't know. So like,
anyway, that's an awesome shirt.
This is not a very good quality image, but it like was not easy to make out even in person.
Mm-hmm.
And I should mention, I took all these pictures. We've got some more. So that's a good starter. Let me prime you for the next one here. People who like sports don't typically, aren't typically inundated with the internet culture. So it's really funny to see something sports related like this.
I mean, that's pretty tame. That's like you're a Bills fan and you're doing like the Superman shirt pull thing. That seems pretty basic. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, definitely not goatsy related at all.
Yeah, that's a shirt. Yeah, he's doing the shirt thing. That's not his asshole. Come on. You think there'd be a buffalo in there?
And then, you get some more that are a little more like kind of purposefully weird, kind of purposefully strange, maybe. She pitches.
Interesting.
I catch. You walk back to the dugout. So like this is like it's like a pegging cuck scenario. Like what is this?
I guess. Yeah, because I'm trying to think of the context where like this, like where, like what is the context where you're telling me this, right? Is that are you getting pegged by my wife?
I think so. I think this is what it's about.
And I'm just supposed to just be like, okay, I'm gonna go buy groceries or something. I guess I'm gonna walk back to the dugout.
I'm gonna sit in the chair and watch you get pegged.
I mean, I guess this is better if she doesn't peg me. If we just have like a normal thing going on, but she pegs you, I think that's better. Because if she pegs me, then it's really bad for me here now, right? I think. That would be worse, right?
I don't know. Depends on what you like. Anyway,
I guess if you're actually like an actual cuck and you're like into it, I guess that's different. I don't know. I don't really know. I don't know a lot of. I don't know a lot of ducks.
I just found the like because when someone talks about pitching and catching, that is very much like they top they that's what it's about.
It's a sex thing. Or I guess they could just be like playing baseball.
It could just be baseball. We could be freaks.
We're like this conversation's actually happening. Like someone, like a completely unrelated woman threw a pitch. You swung, you missed. I'm the catcher, and I'm like, look, man, she pitches, I catch. You're out, asshole. Fucking walk back to the dugout. That's it. That's how. That's a baseball. Like that's it.
That's a baseball. All right. So this one was just baffling to me. I was not like, what do you mean? It's a Friends logo?
We are on a break. Hashtag teachers be like.
Like, what? Who made this? Why did they make this? When did they make this? This
does make me think of something, because there is a Goodwill in the town that I live in, and sometimes we've just gone there for the hell of it. And there was a shirt we saw there once that said "Happy Birthday, Mike," and it did just have some random dude's, like not a famous person at all, just a random dude's face on it, who I assume was Mike. So this does kind of make me think of that, yeah. Just these weird shirts.
Because I have to imagine this was made like by a school for their teachers or whatever. Because this was in like the section that I was browsing, so it's like a full adult shirt,
Right.
So I can only imagine, like this was like, but there's a hashtag with the Friends logo, and like those are two very different times. Like, it breaks my brain a little bit. All right, and this again, back in the realm of baffling, to further go into the realm of baffling.
Did you buy any shirts at this place?
No.
I do not like cancer here or there. I do not like cancer anywhere. What a bold statement.
Yeah, like...
What the fuck did crabs do to you, asshole? Was this anti-crab propaganda? What the hell, man?
Like I get
and I assume it's different. It's different colors because there's like the different ribbons and stuff for the different kinds of cancers. Like pink is breast cancer and things like that. I assume. So I assume that's what all those colors are for.
Red is cock cancer. Red is cock cancer. I have heard.
I believe you. Which, by the way, I don't think there's red on this, so that's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Cock cancer represent.
Well, maybe don't represent. I guess because we don't want it to. We don't want it. So. Jeremy, pull up cock cancer. I think that's the guy's name that always is supposed to pull the stuff up on Rogan. I've never watched.
I don't know.
I don't know because I think he's always saying Jeremy, pull up the video with the bear or whatever the fuck he says. I don't know, but I mean, at least it doesn't say I do like cancer. I feel like that would be a weirder shirt,
Right, but it's just baffling. Like, there are things that are weird about it that I can't even really describe. It's hard to describe why this is weird to me. I
thought you were just gonna say it's hard. Like, man, this shit's hard, dude. I'm like, you know what? You're right.
This goes fucking hard.
The cat in the hat does stand up to cancer. Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, fuck yeah, man. And the last.
That's not even the Cat in the Hat, though. That's from Green Eggs and Ham.
Yeah, that's from Green. The line is from Green Eggs and Ham.
Why is it the Cat in the Hat then?
I don't know.
Now I'm mad. Now I'm on cancer side. It should have been fucking the guy in Sam I Am and those dudes. Yeah, like, did the dude have a name that wasn't Sam I Am?
Oh,
he surely did, right?
Maybe?
Well, I don't think his name's ever said because Sam I Am doesn't really talk much. He's just like keeps trying to offer him weird ass looking food. Why is it green? It's like GMOs or something, or
well, it maybe they ate too much. They had cupcakes. They ate cupcakes with like a bunch of frosting.
Mm.
Have you ever had that where it's like you eat something with coloring in it and your shit is green?
So when I was a kid, that used to happen whenever I drank Great Value grape soda.
Your shit would just be green?
Yes. Yeah. No, for real. When I drank like the Great Value brand grape soda, I have like very vivid memories of having odd colored poops, which is a great podcast topic.
Odd colored.
Hey guys, today so we brought the results from my colonoscopy here. Today's show. We're gonna
poop update.
Hey, while you're doing visual aids, can I have you retroactively put something else on the screen? It won't be my colonoscopy, but just something that happened to me yesterday that I thought was kind of funny.
Sure.
So like I like XCOM 2. It's a fun game. And I was playing it, and whenever you like launch the game and you're on the main menu, it's always got like a soldier and he's like behind cover, and there's like, you know, some like aliens or whatever in the background. And if you've been playing a game, it's usually a character that's like saved into your character pool or one of your soldiers or whatever. And I have a lot of mods. I just go into the Steam Workshop, just click a bunch of funny stuff because I like having real wacky characters as my soldiers. We're talking like fucking Final Fantasy characters. We're talking like fucking GTA characters. We're like, it is a really wide spectrum because I think it's really funny to drop my squad in, and I've got like, you know, like fucking Riku from Final Fantasy X and like Trevor Phillips and like Zero from Borderlands and like all sorts of wacky stuff. But sometimes what happens is that like the way these mods work is that they add the customization items effectively to make these characters into the pool. And sometimes it just does this.
What the hell?
I don't know what's happening to this guy or what he's supposed to be, but that little floating fella there is supposed to be some kind of soldier, and he's just not having a good time, you know.
Oh god, it's a human pretzel.
He's having a rough day. But like literally, if you recruit like a random soldier, they'll have they'll have like an anime character's arms, and they'll have like the regular armor and like some random person's face. And because like some of the like mod faces are like helmets and some of them are heads, sometimes they'll have like both, so it'll be like really broken and stuff. But it makes it so much better. I don't know, but yeah, that was something I saw yesterday. That was pretty cool.
That's great. That's one of my favorite things is like not even like modded. Sometimes this will happen in certain games, like where something will glitch out, and it's like you've got spaghetti monster men.
Yeah, how many times has this happened in Borderlands to you? Probably a lot.
A handful, at least. Yeah.
Where it just completely breaks. Yeah.
You get people with like their head just stretching infinitely into the void.
That's how I want to die, by the way.
Same.
Stretching infinitely into the void. I mean, I guess that's like, is that what happens when you go with black holes? I think that might be what they do. I don't know.
So spaghettification, right, is basically the pull of gravity on one end is like infinitely more than the other end of your body. So it sucks you into a spaghetti thin like type of human. You know, you basically become so thin, like this kills you instantaneously, pretty much.
Right. Yes.
But you basically get spaghetti thin, and then you get sucked into the black hole and become part of the singularity.
Nice. That's pretty cool.
And don't look up, because if you do look up, all of the light that's like coming in around you will be just centered on that one point, and you will burn your retinas and die.
I looked up when you said don't look up. I don't know what I was supposed to see, but I fucking just looked up like an idiot. It's like, oh, there's
a skull on the ceiling. All right, so this is the last shirt that I found. And I was not.
Oh, this is good. This shirt is awesome.
Elves Gone Wild. Christmas
shirt.
break.
This shirt fucks. This is awesome, dude. You should have bought this one.
I should have.
He's got tan lines, dude. Why does he have tan lines? That's awesome.
Like, and this was not even from a long time. I was in that store for maybe like 40 minutes total. Maybe like 20 of that was looking at shirts, you know? And it's like, I don't know. I kind of want, I've got a lot of thrift stores around me. I kind of want to like go thrift, like hunting now. Just like seeing what I can find, what little like fucked up shirts, fucked up things I can find. Because
a couple years ago, I did sort of do that, actually. Just like walk around to like different like antique stores, thrift stores, things like that. And I think the only thing I ended up buying was there was this like 6-pack of Pepsi bottles from like 1980. No, not 1980. No, they were the late 90s, actually. Yeah, because it was like it was like the Shaq pack or whatever, and it has like Orlando Magic Shaquille O'Neal on it, and had like the Magic schedule that season for some reason on like the side of it. It looks awesome. It's at my desk at work, and I have like the whole 6-pack up there. It was like $20, but that's one of the coolest things I ever found, like a secondhand place.
Yeah, and gosh, and it's really cool because I've seen this kind of segment in other places, you know, but there's some really fucking weird shit out there. Some of it like handmade, some of it's just like bootleg nonsense. And it's like, it really makes you wonder who in their fucking right mind went out and made fucking You're a Wizard Harry, blurry Hagrid in front of the moon. You know, what is this? Who made this?
Real American patriots made this. I'll tell you that much, man. That's the lifeblood of our country right there. These fucking people that made You're a Wizard Harry with this weird ass looking picture, those are the people that we're fighting for, you know, on this podcast.
It's true. It's true. All right, and so you said your second thing was going to kind of circle back or kind of integrate with your first thing.
Yes.
What do you got for me here?
This is the last thing I have, by the way. This is all I got.
Yeah, same. We've been going for a little over an hour 15, so I think we're on schedule. Yeah.
So I do want to point out before that, just to the audience here, that Common's first segment was about the deep-seated roots of discrimination and hatred in the American South and how we can adapt to the modern era and try to fix that. And his second topic was Elves Gone Wild Christmas Brew.
Was funny shirts.
I just want to point that out that was the thing. Now the thing I wanted to talk about here for my second topic, we talk about live services a lot, obviously, and a lot of the pitfalls with it, and how the market is kind of like in a way sort of collapsed with them a lot, where it's either it's so hit or miss that it's probably not worth it to try. So I want to know what you think is maybe the next thing we're gonna see happen, because like in like 2016, hero shooters became like the thing. You know, Overwatch was big. Paladins found like was kind of like riding its coattails, but found its own little like wiggle room and things there. And other games, and obviously like Team Fortress 2 was a thing well before that, but like, you know, Overwatch was like the biggest game in the world for a while, and like hero shooters became the thing. Then that sort of started falling off. Battle Royales became like the big thing. You know, we had like, what was it? H1Z1 was the one. Was that a battle royale?
I can't remember if H1Z1 was like a battle royale or like an extraction shooter or what.
But you had like PUBG, you had Fortnite, obviously, which has kind of become Roblox now. You have, you know, Apex Legends, all this other stuff. And then you've had like, all of these are live service models, right? Hero shooters are live service games. Battle royales are live service games. I mean, it felt like maybe even before hero shooters were a big thing, I feel like a lot of single player games were like going really heavy into like putting survival aspects into games. I feel like that was a really popular trend like in the early 2010s. Like, where do you think the next big trend like the next big thing that everybody's going to try to do is in gaming, because I feel like it's going to be more of a the big titles. I feel like recently that people are like really going to remember as like being standout video games, or like Baldur's Gate 3 and like Expedition 33 and like these other games that came out that were single player titles that were very, very popular, very successful, and a billion awards. Like, what do you think is the next? I mean, and I don't know, maybe if you have like a positive and like maybe like a positive future and a bad future, what do you think is going to happen in the industry? But like, what do you think is the next big trend that the gaming industry is maybe going to be diving into in the next couple of years? Like, what's your thought if you had to guess?
Let me pitch 2 theoretical games to you. All right. So the first is like the ideal. I think it's a live service game, right?
Okay,
but it's very similar, we'll say, to VR chat or Second Life or God forbid the metaverse.
We should talk about that. Honestly, that thing was crazy. How much money they lost? They lost like billions, I think, on that.
It's 8 billion. I think it was
something like that. Yeah, they never figured out how to make legs. I think they did figure out. Legs
they did figure it out, but it was far too late by then. You know? I really like the video where Mark Zuckerberg is like, "Hey, check this out," and then he gives his character huge tits, and they're like, "Wow!"
I don't remember that. No. I know. I'm literally asking you this question. I'm interrupting you. I do think that was maybe one of the most prominent examples of corporate tone deafness ever. Was the metaverse, because it was literally like we put all our money into a product that has been made already in a much better way. Because like VR chat was already a thing that was popular and existed, and this was like really shitty corporate shill VR chat. You know, right. At least that's how it was marketed. You know, that was one of the most like out of touch corporate things ever, which makes sense because it's Mark Zuckerberg. But anyway, as you were saying, you're making the metaverse but better.
Right. So that's kind of what I think. Like idealistically, it's kind of metaverse-esque, but it's more contingent on user content, very similar to VR chat, where it's like people can make worlds, people can make models, people can, you know, it's very user driven. It would probably have to be hosted by some big fuck ass mega corporation,
right?
But I think the ideal is that it is a kind of a game that comes with, you know, a handful of like things to do, kind of like an MMO, right? It's like you got your like RuneScape. You got the people who grind out farming. You got the people who grind out combat. You got the people who grind out, you know, rune crafting, shit like that. And it's all kind of metaverse-esque. I think that is like the idealistic. Like they come up with something new that people like, that corners a market that like, and this is something I see in VR chat a lot, where it's like people are making their own games in VR chat practically. And it's like, obviously, like people want to have these experiences with their friends. People want to have like a place to just chill out, talk with their friends and do things, you know, have their group events similar to like an MMO, but in a more like kind of personal setting, but also like kind of like there is this need, there's this want. And I think like a corporation, if they wanted to make a bunch of money, could capitalize on that. They could make something that like very similar to VR chat, maybe work with the people who make VR chat to make an MMO that is more like life-based, more merge of Second Life and RuneScape, we'll say. Some kind of thing like that. So that's my idealistic. It's innovation, cornering, you know, something that people might actually like, might actually want. And then I think there's also a very grim second, more realistic outcome, which is Overwatch 3.
Let's go, baby! Overwatch 3! So we just keep doubling down on the things we're already doing, basically?
Exactly. It just keeps going, you know. World of Warcraft gets World of Warcraft Classic 2 or some shit like that. Yeah, like
World of Minecraft.
See, that would be innovation. That would be cool. That would be fun. But like it would be very
that we just evolve into more remakes, more iteration of the same thing, and it's just the same thing over and over again, and we just keep eating it because it's slop and we're little piggies. Is that kind of what you're getting to?
Right. And like anything that tries to get made ultimately fails because the markets have already been so like pinned down, so hard cornered by all of, you know, Blizzard, by fucking Riot Games, by all these people who have found not only one niche but multiple niches and have fine-tuned their games to, you know, really pinpoint it. I think like the bleak future here is safety and complete lack of innovation forever, and anything that tries to do anything that even deviates, anything new, just gets shut down, just dies immediately. And that is like the bleak kind of, it just never improves. Things always are awful. And I mean, I hate to say it, but like that's probably what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, the Stop Killing Games initiative is definitely going to improve the things for like the companies that really want to try to make you know, their games. They'll have a reason to continue to support it beyond, you know, the main company pulling the plug, you know, the big funder, the big backer. But at the same time, you're always going to have the big players who just have everything. And it's, you're
the top 1% of all game companies are monopolizing the player base from the other 99%. And we need
the top 1% of game companies are responsible for 99% of the pornography on the internet right now. And we need to spread the pornography.
I don't even know the last time I've played Overwatch, but I still can't get away from this stuff. It's fucking everywhere. What are you people doing? Come on.
I like the idea of like Bernie just being like, I jerk off the Widowmaker's ass every night. I do it every night.
But I'd like some variety. Come on, people. You are talented artists. There's a lot of attractive characters out there. And I feel like you guys can't agree whether she's more blue or purple. What are you doing here, guys? Come on.
Anyway, like it's again, it is kind of like that. It's like the 1% of game companies are responsible for like 90% of the players. And like if that's, it's like it's weird, and it's we're gonna get a little woke here again. That's kind of what's going on with like capitalism right now. Like,
is it homophobic if I jerk off to Tracer? I'm not sure. You know.
Like,
I'm just asking questions.
You're just asking questions. I'm
saying I do it all the time, you know, but I do it all the time.
I am doing it right now under the podium. That's bad. I'm gonna. Oh,
shout out to Bernie, a friend of the show. You know,
friend of the show. We've had him on a few times.
Yeah. This is usually what he talks about. I mean, he's a lot different. He's a lot different off camera, man. I mean, he's an animal.
Crazy guy. But like, you know, you've got a handful of companies. You've got like Tyson, you've got 3M, you've got, you know, all these big mega companies that are just like responsible, that have cornered their market so deeply that they have more money than God. You know,
shout out to God also for another show.
And yeah, it's like that is what we're seeing in the real world, in video games. And I don't know. I think maybe some legislation, Stop Killing Games initiative is perhaps a peek into what it would be like to have a little bit more control over those things. And maybe we could take those lessons and we could apply them to other mega corporations.
I know which ones I would be targeting. I mean, we've been talking about it all day, man. We need some more variety there. Look, I understand you guys got really used to Source Filmmaker. Maybe you need to, you know, branch out a bit there as well. Try Blunder.
Listen, the Source Filmmaker has terrible clipping. You can't do anything with the materials. The cum just looks awful. Bernie critiquing the cum in Source Filmmaker is...
Physics is terrible. There's also just too much of it, by the way. I mean, like, come on, guys. That is your...
It's 2 to 3 teaspoons on average. I don't know where you guys are getting your metrics from.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay.
Listen, it's all right to give the women cocks. You keep doing that. Just keep the ejaculations relatively normal. This is so. What is this bit? What are we doing?
I don't know. I mean, I'm laughing my ass off, man. But I'm dying. Jesus, I need to take a drink real quick. Give me a second. I'll talk about my opinion on not that. On my opinion on the future of games. In just a second.
Yeah. So like that's my kind of like idea is you either have a world where innovation is made and things are kind of, you know, we kind of learn to thrive in spite of the stranglehold, I guess you could call it, on the live service market, or you get the world where the live service market never changes and things are just awful all the time.
Now, admittedly, the kind of ideal thing you were explaining to me, I was thinking, like, is this just like Roblox without the predation? I mean, it kind of sounded a little like it, you know?
That's the thing, though, is like, yeah, you've had like things like this multiple times. Like, again, I said, Second Life, VR chat, things like that. But it's not the reason why Second Life died or whatever is just because people moved on to other things, right? That like there wasn't a reason to keep coming back. And so that's why I'm thinking, like, if you have a core game, right, in the middle of it, like a RuneScape, something where it makes sense to kind of log in, do your rune grinding or whatever, and, you know, then talk to your friends, hang out in Tutorial Island, whatever. Like, maybe that could work. And obviously, like, it could be anything. That was just the first thing that came to my mind. Right. But it's really more representative of just innovation, right? Change, something different, something like actual ideas being came up with, rather than more of the same.
I get you. Yeah. So my opinion, I mean, as far as like a more realistic view of what I think the future is for like the next big trend in gaming, I do really genuinely think that like there will be a just general trend away from the live service model by a lot of companies. I do think a lot of companies are going to continue just, you know, picking at it because it is like getting a lottery ticket, really, when you put out a live service game, because they know that like, hey, if I am the company that makes the next big live service game that's actually a big one, then yeah, I will make
more money than God, who is once again still a friend of the show. But like, if
Not
if
after
I
that
don't,
last bit.
not after the last bit, he changed his mind real quick there. Um, but I just think that like a lot of companies are getting like we're seeing like your studio is dead when you put out one of these games, you know? Like in
Yeah.
the studio, the people that made High Guard, yeah, they were backed by Tencent, but they were like ex Respawn guys, you know, and they like made their studio. These were guys that a lot of them were industry veterans, and like they're just done, you know, like their company got sunk, man. Their studio is dead, and that happens when you make these really crappy live service games. And even if you make like a mid one, like High Guard, you just get shot in the head. You're dead, man. Game over. You do not pass go. You do not collect 200. So I feel like there will be, especially for like maybe these like kind of double A studios, you know, like not the ones that aren't like the massive ones that can afford to just keep, you know, hitting their head against the wall. I feel like there's going to be a lot more trepidation in the future for major live service products just in general, because it's just a minefield, you know. And if you make a game that is just a good single player game, yeah, it's not going to put you, you're not a Fortune 500 company because of that, the way you would be if you made the next Fortnite. But like, you've made a product, you have some audience that liked it, the product is continually available, and people will continue to buy it even if it's smaller numbers over time, and then you can use that momentum and use that fan base and use that, you know, support to move on to your next project, right? And I feel like it is so much more of a viable model in the modern market for a lot of studios, because it's just not worth the risk. And it also is so much more expensive to make a live service game also, and to keep it running, but also like, once again, the returns are so much better. But like, think about being a studio like, you know, like Sandfall that made, you know, Clair Obscur. And these are like former Ubisoft guys. And you don't want to be a former Ubisoft guy. Everyone hates Ubisoft. Like,
Right.
nobody likes them. But like, they made Expedition 33. It won 8 billion awards. Everyone loved it. Most people loved it, at the very least, that played it. And it was great. You know, when you had Baldur's Gate 3 from Larian, who is a very established studio already. But like, you have these single player titles that come out, and like, you know, when we're looking at gaming 15 years from now, people will still talk about Baldur's Gate 3 the same way that they talk about like incredibly important games from like, you know, the early 2000s or the late 90s and stuff like that, you know? Like, think about some of the most iconic games that we know, like Ocarina of Time. You've played that at least a couple times, you know? It's
a handful.
Yeah, it's one of the most popular individual games in the history of the medium, I would say. Like, it is up there. You know, it's I think the most the most well-known. I mean, I guess the most popular sales-wise is Breath of the Wild, but like, I think. But like, when people think of Zelda, I think that's the game they most commonly go back to. I think. I don't know. But I think the PR is so much better, I think, for being a good single player game than being anything but the absolute best live service game. So I think that, like, I'm hoping as well that we'll kind of maybe see like a fresh wave of just studios that really want to make really good single player games. And we should really have like patriotic music start swelling in the background as I go on this little tirade here, because we need to see games that come out that are 80 fucking hours long, where a third of the game sucks, another third of the game is bullshit dialogue and cutscenes, and the other third of the game is fucking peak entertainment, because that's what we need in this country, man. We need fucking RPGs that aren't for everybody, that kind of suck sometimes, but are also really good and really iconic. And also, they need to remake Fallout New Vegas as well, because that game is really good. But I think we need good single player titles. I think that's just where we're at. I'm done with live services. I am not done with them, obviously, but like I'm just done thinking that is anything close to like the way forward for the industry, in my opinion. I don't know.
Yeah. As they say, money makes the world go round, though. So it's like we have these big, broad ideas. This overarching like thing that we think about, you know, how the industry should move forward. But ultimately, it's the dollar sign that decides, and that is perhaps one of the most frustrating things about it, is that, you know, art only gets made if money allows, I suppose. And it's really, I don't know. It's like it's already happened, right? We've already seen the indie boom because of pretty much primarily because of Steam, being so easy to publish a game on a platform that everyone can access. We've seen this boom of indie developers who make fantastic titles, who make these, this little thing that.
Yeah, I mean, like Silksong's another great example of a game that like everybody loved when it came out. Obviously, people were waiting for Hollow Knight Silksong forever. And it's obviously another indie studio,
Yeah, and that is like a really good example. It's like, I think it's the industry is divided. Just big shocker. The industry is divided kind of among people who are fine with AAA, people who will bow down to the almighty Aller, and people who are just kind of like, I'm gonna make my own games, I'm gonna make my art, I'm gonna make my the thing I want to make, and the AAA studios can go fuck themselves, more or less. We've already seen that split, and it's becoming more and more apparent that these live service games are volatile, and I think people are going to start seeing the writing on the walls that if you're not, Blizzard or Riot or whoever, then it's just not worth it. And I don't know, it could very easily be a shift towards single player games, single player experiences. You've got so many games coming out now. You've got Death Stranding 2, you've got Clair Obscur is a very good one, Baldur's Gate, all of these master classes of their own genres, and they're all made by not indie studios, but good, talented, reputable studios that just decided to go back to basics, go back to making single player games, making art for the sake of for $1, but also because it's art. They wanted to make something good. It's I think it's really, it very well could be that is the direction things move. And I think that's more likely than like everyone going to live service.
Yeah.
Overall, you could see however much of it as us dooming or whatever. But I think it's a pretty good conversation to have, right? The state of the industry and where it's going to go.
Yeah, for sure.
I think even more than that, I think, God, I can't even remember which channel it was. There was a channel that I saw that was like the first, was it like 100 games that were published to Steam in 2026 or something like that. And it was a woman who just went through like 100 games.
There's probably some bad stuff in there, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, there was.
If the new and upcoming thing that Steam tries to show me every so often is any indication, there was some bad stuff in there, probably.
But like the whole point of that video from that woman was let's find some hidden gems. Let's find some good, things that nobody's ever seen before. And I think that is one of the ways that we, as gamers, as people who don't make games, as people who don't work in the industry, can actually kind of help the industry, is by like actually actively looking for games that are, smaller in scope, maybe less well known, but look interesting and have something that catches our eye. I don't know. It's a commitment, though, right? You're spending money with your wallet, or you're voting with your wallet, whatever. And you typically spend money with your wallet, but voting with your wallet. And not only that, it's supporting people who are putting themselves out there in spite of being in this industry that absolutely favors like the long-standing, big names.
Yeah. I mean, and there's really already like over the past couple of years been like this idea almost that AAA is a bad thing, essentially. Like a lot of gamers really do genuinely feel like a AAA release is almost like a negative to attach to a game, Or when like they said Skull and Bones was the world's first quadruple A game from Ubisoft. Which, by the way, was a game I was excited for when it was first announced 8 billion years before it came out, because I adore the naval combat from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is what the game was kind of supposed to be doing. I never played the game when it came out. Is it still even? It might not even be around anymore. Actually, that one might have died too. But I remember that was the thing. They called it a quadruple A game at the time. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like a lot of the triple A quote unquote releases that people do get excited for are just remakes of like old games. Like when people thought it was really cool when Bethesda Shadow dropped the Oblivion remake. People thought that was cool. Like I thought it was cool, and it feels like a lot of the major releases from AAAs these days, like the new ideas, the new IPs, the new live services, just end up not feeling very new and interesting and fun. And like they kind of end up, as we've talked about a lot with live service games today, not really landing or finding that audience. So it does feel like there has been a major shift towards, especially in the past several years, independent studios being just like the thing people are really looking forward to seeing the next work from. Because a lot of people are like, look, yeah, if the Elder Scrolls 6 eventually comes out, I'm going to buy it. You're probably going to buy it. Like, we'll probably play it, but like, there's so many like major game studios that like, if you tell me they're working on something new, I'm like, okay, But if you tell me the makers of this fun indie game are working on something new or something like that, I'm like, oh, cool, awesome. I want to see what they can do, So I don't know. I feel like maybe that is overall a very good thing for the industry, that like we are spreading the love, I think, already as a community, as gamers. So I don't know. Maybe we're getting towards a better spot, but I feel like I don't even know what topic we're on anymore.
Yeah,
like we've kind of gone through it.
Yeah, and well, okay. I think there's also another side to that, which is that we are maybe not capital G gamers. That's a very specific kind of person. We are deep gamers. We are people who are very deep in the culture. We know these indie games, right? Like people who have played more than just The Binding of Isaac as an indie game. And like we
Isaac, by the way, friend of the show.
Yeah.
I guess. I don't know.
I guess.
A lot of friends of the show today,
in our first 0th episode or whatever.
Our 0th episode.
But like we have this not unique view, but we are deeper than I think the majority. Because you got to remember, again, like the majority of people, like probably 60% of gamers will only ever play AAA titles, right? And
I have no idea, but maybe, yeah, I don't know.
Probably something like that. And so it's like we get this specific kind of view where we are around other people that are kind of like us, that have similar ideas. They see AAA titles and they go, wow, more slop, more garbage, whatever, remake, don't care, I'm gonna play Minecraft. But like that's not most gamers. That's not most people who enjoy video games. It's very like we can only see things from our own perspective, and I don't know, maybe whoever's listening to this can give a comment and say what their perspective is, talk about people that they've heard from, what they feel about AAA games. Ultimately,
and also comment your social security number and your credit card information, please.
Yes, especially the 3 wacky digits on the back.
Absolutely.
And As far as that all goes, though, I think I am cautiously optimistic, as I have been for quite a while. I think with the games industry, the good thing about the games industry is that I will always have my fallbacks. I can always play my favorite games because they're single player, because they're games from my childhood, and even if the future of the games industry isn't great, like I still have my favorites.
You can always relive the glory days.
Right.
And if you want to see us rank our favorite games, comment that down below, along with, once again, your social security number and any kind of banking information that you would like to share with us. If you too would like to be a friend of the show.
Routing number, electronic wire transfer numbers, anything like that.
I don't know.
Yeah, phone number. I can give you a call. What street you live on. Anyway, I'm cautiously optimistic. I think, there is a future. Of course there's a future, but it's,
thank God. I thought it was it today. I thought we were done. Jeez. I didn't know there's more after this.
Who the fuck
God,
knows what it's going to be? Oh, God. Wait, you mean I do actually have to go to that appointment today? Fuck.
Shit. I thought this was it, man. I'm going to have... I spent so much money on blow and, mostly that, actually. There wasn't anything else.
I got a fifth of Henny. I don't know. I think that's a good place to leave it off for now. Is I'm cautiously optimistic. How do you feel about the state of it? Do you feel similarly?
No, I agree. I think there is a lot to be optimistic about. There's always going to be companies that just come out and go for the live service bullseye and don't get it. But I mean, there's a lot of institutions in the industry that were not there before. And I think Jeff Keighley's a great example. He got flamed for the whole high guard thing. It's there. By the way, there were people that literally thought it was his fault that the game didn't succeed, which was stupid because
yeah,
he's the award show guy. But there are people like him who are super passionate about the industry, who know a lot of people and who are constantly trying to create more outreach, not just for the big titles. Obviously, yes, they create hype for the really big titles. But so many indie games get revealed at the Game Awards and other programs like that. And the Game Awards and things like that are also so good because they celebrate the medium in so many ways. I mean, I try to it is one of my favorite things to watch. I love watching the Game Awards because there's usually I have a dog in the race. I've tried to glaze Expedition 33 multiple times in the show today, right? But I was rooting for it in a lot of awards and won them. But also they do so much, I think, almost also to the artistic side of the medium. They do these big the big orchestra performances of the music from the games, demonstrating how beautiful a lot of that is. There's so many people like Jeff Keighley that are passionate about the industry, that want to do everything they can to ensure real good games succeed. And I think that is in a lot of institutions that didn't really exist previously. We used to have conventions like E3 and things like that, but I don't know. This feels a bit more personal to me when you have guys that are so wanting to be personally involved in ensuring things like that succeed. I don't know. And there's a lot of people like him. And then there's just so many options, I think, now, and so many ways for different people to get their games out there on places like Steam and things like that, that I am also cautiously optimistic about a lot of the things going forward. Maybe not as much about the live service space, because I feel like it's gotten a lot very stale, as you've kind of mentioned. And I think we both mentioned. But yeah, no, I think gaming's in a good place. Unlike, the deep racial tensions of the South that we also talked about today. I mean, still, once again, was not expecting that to lead off the show, but we did it,
We got through it. Hey, we're adults and we can talk about things.
Yeah.
To talk about a little bit more about indie games, have you heard about the III initiative?
No, what's that?
I can't remember, and that's the thing. It's I just remember seeing it, and I think it's supposed to be specifically elevating indie games. Let me do some Googling.
Have you heard of the III initiative? No, yeah, me neither. Okay. Cool. Great talk.
Okay, yeah, so it's a bunch of indie studios that specifically exist to that are like collaborating, and like it's supposed to be like a one-stop shop for a bunch of indie game news and like announcements, and it's I think it's supposed to be like an E3 but specifically for indie games. And yeah, it's it was something. When did it? Was it? I think there was like a video. I don't know. Like the idea being like there is a lot that's going on for indie games, to the point where indie games are becoming their own like cottage industry, kind of. You know, it's becoming like its own. No. Like it's the small segment of the market that of people who you know, craft things more lovingly, artisanally, if you will. That's kind of what a cottage industry is. It's like it's things that are handcrafted, and
so not cottage cheese.
Not cottage cheese, unfortunately.
I always thought cottage cheese looked really gross. You know, so I'm kind of glad it's not like
that. Me too. My dad used to, and like I could not understand this for the life of me. He would buy a bunch of like, you know, those big bags of tortilla chips, and he would take them, and he'd just get a tub of cottage cheese, dip them in, and just eat it. Like not even dip it. He would scoop it out, like big heaping helping of cottage cheese, and eat that. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, not a friend of the show at all. No. Enemy of the show, actually.
Enemy of the show. Enemy, cottage cheese, branded enemy of the the Sock and Cold show.
Okay, it is funny you say that, because I was going to pitch that we should call this Sock and Cold torture.
I also was thinking that.
Like, Sock and Cold torture, SCT.
Oh, cock and soul torture.
This does torture both my cock and my soul, so I mean it makes sense, you know.
So I think that's a good place to end it up. Triple I Initiative, very cool. I think I'm gonna go learn more about it. I just remember saying something about it, but that kind of leans into what you're saying, is like there's a lot more happening specifically for indie developers in the space right now, and I think that's something that it's positive.
All right, should I play the outro?
Jamie, play the outro.
It's the Sock and Cold show, and now that's something you'd know. Ta-da!
Listen, it wasn't nearly as bad as the amount of cum in those FSFM things. I could definitely handle it.